So you want to scale to 7 figures. Well, I've done it 2 times, and in this video, I'm going to show you the strategies and the full guide to scaling to 7 figures. If you have a 6-figure portfolio, or if you're close to 6 figures, you want to scale it up. You want to grow to 500K and a million. Well, you're in the right place. I've done it 2 times for myself and 24 times for my one-on-one students. Now, I respect your time, so I'm going to look at my notes and I'm going to give you the quick summary here of my detailed training in this entire video, and I'm going to try to summarize it if you don't have the time to fully watch the training. First, I'm going to cover the strategy allocation. What changes as you scale is instead of 50% leaps, 20% spreads, and 30% wheel, as you scale up and you get to 7 figures, what's going to change in your life is you're going to shift to somewhere around 80% wheel, 10% leaps, and for me, what I tell my students that are scaling and they have a bigger portfolio is taking advantage of strategic events, earnings, news, things of that nature, event-driven topics that will really drive results. The next thing that you need to understand if you want to scale to 7 figures is timeframes. Timeframes go from short-term weekly trading to monthly wealth accumulation, retirement planning, budgeting and spending, 5-figure monthly returns, because that's what's going to happen when you get to 7 figures. You're going to start making 5 figures, maybe 6 figures per month in really, really good months. And you're going to have to decide for yourself, are you going to reinvest those funds back into your portfolio? How much of them are you going to reinvest? And what is your plan going into the future? What's your legacy? What are you going to be leaving for your children? What do you need for yourself? And how is that allocation of income coming from your portfolio going to look like? Also, what I'm going to talk about in this video is going to be risk management. So in terms of risk management, you need to understand delta management, managing the delta in your portfolio, hedging with options, position sizing, and other things around risk management and allocating capital and efficiently using it. When do you get in, when do you get out, and how long do you hold positions for? Because each strategy is different. Then I want to talk about sector-based strategies, so showing you guys how to diversify into ETFs, specific sectors like healthcare, technology, consumer staples, etc. So I'm going to talk about sector-based stuff and the importance of the wheel strategy, which I think is the most important strategy for consistent income. If you are a bigger investor and you're going to 7 figures, you really want to focus on the consistency, and you're no longer going for big returns. You're going for good medium returns with very good risk management, because you just want consistency at that point. If you have $1 million, you want to consistently produce 30, 40, $60,000 a month or so, you need consistency, and it's no longer about having those big swings of volatility in your portfolio. So now, if you do have the time to fully listen to this guide, let's go over and start to discuss how we actually scale and build a 7-figure portfolio and my 3 strategies to reaching $1 million as fast as possible, and then scaling from 1 million. You guys have seen my public journey here on YouTube, scaling from 1 million to 2 million, and then to 4.2 million. And I'm continuing the journey here to 8 figures, to 10 million. And I'm doing all that publicly, and I'm documenting everything. So look, when it comes to the most important strategy, I mentioned the wheel strategy is the most important strategy. That means you're selling puts and covered calls. As you're scaling, you definitely want to use more leap options. Leap options are really powerful, and they help you scale because you put in a little bit of capital into a leap option, you get leverage. You get like a 3x leverage factor. It depends on the leap option, right? But if you're buying leaps on NVIDIA, on Tesla, these are wealth-building machines. Look at any NVIDIA employee. All of them are millionaires because they got stock options, right? If you look at Tesla employees, many of them have large Tesla positions because they get stock options. Okay, so options will make you rich. And if you manage your wealth properly, it's all a matter of time. So that's why I talked about time frames. And as you're scaling your portfolio, what I see in a lot of my clients is we're no longer doing weekly strategies. We're going for more monthly strategies because that's where the consistent income and the more passive income really is. And it's about compounding returns. So over time, you compound returns, and you really need to reinvest your capital. If you want to get to 7 figures fast, the strategies that you implement are selling puts, covered call, the wheel strategy, and leaps. We'll talk about buying strategies in a little bit in different market environments, but it's essentially time and then using simple strategies on proper stocks. Okay, proper stocks is really important because if you invest in the wrong stocks, the strategy won't save you. If you invest in the right stocks, even not so good strategy and the wrong strategy will still work on the right stocks. So it does really come down to stock selection and sector selection. So when I was at Goldman Sachs, something that a lot of the advisors did was they were focusing on putting the client's money in an asset allocation. An asset allocation is basically how the assets are allocated. What funds, what sectors, bonds, right, or ETFs. And what I saw across the board for Goldman Sachs is they were really focusing on wealth preservation. Now, that's really cool when you have a huge portfolio, right? But obviously, if you're watching my videos and you're seeking advice or seeking tips from YouTube, you're probably not, worth $50 million. You probably want to scale and get to 6, 7 figures and beyond in your journey in the process of growing. So wealth preservation is very important, but on your journey to scaling and growing and hitting $1 million as fast as possible, it's really about picking the right opportunities, and the asset allocation is going to look very different for yourself versus a Goldman Sachs client who is just looking to protect their money. Okay, Goldman Sachs clients I've seen get 3-4% returns per year, which is nothing, right? What we are trying to aim for here at Invest with Henry and my coaching program is we are looking to get 4, maybe 5% per month in consistent results, right? It varies. There's no guarantees. I'm not a financial advisor, but my goal and what I've been able to achieve myself is over 50% compounded annual results year after year. And I'm not just talking about 2024, because 2024, it was an easy year. I got over 50% results. The other year, I also got 50% results. But I've had several years where I've also had 100% results. Okay, I've had 90% results, thereabouts, right? I've scaled everything publicly. You can go back to my old videos. A lot of that was driven by leap options. Because again, leap options give you that upside without having to put up all that capital. You really need that if you want to hit $1 million fast. You can't really afford to, put everything into the wheel strategy. But I am telling you, your strategy will most likely shift more towards the wheel as you want to get that consistent and safe income. But on the way there, you're going to use leap options. Now, what I wanted to cover, by the way, is I wanted to also cover navigating the market and what I see in 2025. So I wanted to show you guys this really interesting article, which is just basically a chart or a pyramid of S&P 500 returns over many decades. So this is 151 years of S&P 500 returns. It's very interesting because obviously the market has had really bad years, right? In 1931, 2008 crash. We've had some really bad years, but none of them are really recent. Recently, we've been in a lot of bull times, right? You can see here the 2000s, 2003, 2009, 2013, 2021, 2023, and 2024. Wow, we had 3 years in a row of really good performance of over 20% results. So are we going to get another bull run in 2025? And I think it's really important that if you want to hit 1 million fast, I assume if you're watching this video, you want to hit that as soon as possible. You want to hit that in a year, 2 years, something really quick. I think now is a really good opportunity because as we get into here February of 2025 and the rest of 2025, I think is going to be a fantastic year. No one can predict the market. However, this is a very strong performance that we've had multiple years in a row. Not to mention we have Trump in the office as the president. I want to teach you a really important lesson. There's a difference between nominal returns and real returns. The stock market, I'm even more bullish on. Despite AI, despite all the good things in our economy, I think inflation is going to be high. As inflation is high, there's just going to be more money circulating because the Fed is printing a lot of money, right? Inflation is going up. So this is good and bad news in two different ways. Good news in terms of the stock market will go up. It's pretty much a no-brainer because there's more money circulating, and all of these dollars that are circulating go into innovation, go into growth. We have, more immigrants coming to the United States. That's more people, more GDP. The economy is growing, okay? Now, from a bad perspective, is in real terms, how much richer you are getting is actually not going to be that much. Let me explain. It's actually very important you have a big return because if you don't have a big return, everyone else will have a big return and you're actually going to be relatively losing. I kind of try to explain this to my father. My father puts some of his money in like real estate, some of his money in CDs. He's like, I'm getting 5%. I'm like, Dad, the 10-year treasury is right around 5% and it might hit 5.5%. So in real terms, although my dad's getting richer on paper, my dad's not really getting richer. He's nominally getting richer, but in real terms, he's not getting richer. Well, I want you to really understand this because you must get high returns. You must scale to $1 million fast because AI is replacing a lot of jobs. Even if you're a software engineer, you work in technology, which is, a very good, traditionally high-paying job. A doctor, lawyer, a lot of jobs are being replaced and a lot of people's salaries, even high salaries, are not safe. So for me, I think it's imperative that you scale to $1 million fast because becoming a millionaire really isn't all that anymore. $1 million today, if you want to be a real millionaire, I think it's really $3 million. $1 million used to be a lot of money. Today, it's not really a lot of money because living is really expensive, especially if you have a family. So I think you really need to scale to $3 million. But, that won't be an exciting title on YouTube. Let's focus on becoming millionaires and scaling to what I believe is the new millionaire, $3 million. You need to use options to leverage that. If you just invest in stocks, you're probably not going to become, scaling to 1 million as fast as you want. In 2025, okay, this little article here is, kind of giving a little prediction here that, most of the analysts on Wall Street, they're expecting 10 to 15%. I think UBS is one of the more bullish banks on Wall Street that says 6,600 for S&P 500. And then it was like 6,000, from, I think it was Goldman Sachs. They were expecting like, 6,000 or something like that. But most analysts and most banks are expecting about 10%. Now, there's something that you have to understand is that most analysts copy each other. Okay, they're looking at each other and they don't want to stand out like a sore thumb because if they're wrong, they look stupid, okay? That's also where herd mentality comes in. You can even see that on the analyst side, right? With stock predictions, stock analysts, earnings estimates, a lot of numbers here are just kind of wishy-washy because people are copying each other. The real fact is nobody knows. My personal best guess is we're going to have a good year of about 20 to 25% results. And I wanted to go over this right here and talk a little bit more about the market that we're in, because the way that January goes will set up February, and February will set up the rest of the year. I mean, the way you start the year is typically how the performance goes. And we've had a pullback which scared many investors. But if you want to scale to 1 million fast, you can't be scared. Okay, you gotta actually have balls to hold on to high quality companies. And the way I became a millionaire was by having balls to actually invest and to hold my ground on volatile stocks such as Tesla and Nvidia. Okay, so the majority of institutions forecast 10 to 15% returns for the S&P 500 in 2025. So that's a really bullish sign here. I wanted to go over a little bit more statistics though, because the S&P 500 annual return, just to put into perspective, there's only been 3 years where it's 40 or 50%. So we're probably not going to get a bull run 40, 50%. It actually covers a normal distribution. So this is something in statistics which is called a normal distribution, right? If I were to, you see how it's just a normal distribution. It looks like that, right? So it follows a normal distribution, and normally what we see in the market is 0 to 10%. So, this isn't that abnormal to go 10 to 20%. In fact, this happens, you can see here, 33, number of years, 33 times and 22 times. So about, 21 plus 14, we got about 36.5% of the time will be in this range, okay? And given that we've already done this 3 times in a row, I think that it's a very strong possibility that you can scale your portfolio to $1 million this year. Even if you're at $400,000 or $500,000, it's a good opportunity to scale because I expect the bull market to continue. And I just looked up this article, which I found a lot of helpful stuff here. So there's some lessons learned that I want you to take away from this video, and I want to summarize and give you a quick summary of your strategy, or what I think your strategy should be going forward. Okay, let me go into more detail. The wheel strategy is fantastic, but you should utilize more leaps. I recently did a leap option on Apple since Apple pulled back tremendously. I'm also doing some leap options on Palantir and Nvidia. A lot of stocks right now during earnings, which is what I highlighted. During earnings is what I'm telling my clients to do is to buy call options. Goldman Sachs has a research article that talked about buying call options 3 days before and then basically cutting that position 1 day after. I'm also a big fan of using margin in a smart way, although I don't cover this on YouTube because it's a little bit more advanced of a topic. There's a lot of beginners watching my videos, and I don't want more people to get into trouble that, I don't want to get people from YouTube that are more in their beginning journey to get into trouble. In the description, I'm going to post 3 different videos, the most important videos that you have to watch. One is going to be about leap options, mastering leap options. The second one is going to be a short video on the wheel strategy, and the third one is going to be a course on the wheel strategy. I think these are the most important strategies that you should run. There's 3 golden strategies: selling puts, covered calls, leaps, and the wheel. But the wheel is just selling puts and covered calls, so it really falls back into selling puts and covered calls. If you're curious about my event-driven strategies using margin, some of the higher level stuff that I don't teach on YouTube, I do have a program where I can do 12 calls with you, coaching one-on-one over Zoom, and I'll be available for you with all my trades, which also includes my Discord community. If you're interested in my one-on-one coaching, you can click the first link in the description. You can learn more about it and see if it's a good fit for you. No pressure if it's not a good fit. My goal is to help you build a retirement strategy. Fire your financial advisor, because the financial advisors, they just take a bunch of money. I want to help you do it yourself. If you have a portfolio that's 25K or higher, 50K, something along those lines, I think coaching with me will be a fantastic opportunity for you to scale, learn more, and get my expertise to help you scale faster and reach $1 million faster. As mentioned, I'll leave 3 videos for you guys in the description to continue to learn, to continue to grow, and I'll catch you in the next video.